Right, amazing. So the topic that we wanted to talk about today was how Ayurveda can support us in conception and pregnancy and our overall fertility. And it is a topic that's really close to my heart, something I really love. It's something that I really delved into a few years ago, actually, just to get to know my body and myself a bit more. But today we're specifically going to look at how it's going to help, Ayurveda is going to help us in conception and pregnancy, whether you're wanting to conceive anytime soon or maybe that's way later in the future. I think it's really important to know about. So this is something that we should really use as a foundation. These questions should come up for us. Like, what if every child knew they were wanted? And what if love was every child's North Star? I think these questions, when we ask ourselves, help us to really be intentional with our conception journey as well. And really, from the moment of conception, a child's body actually forms within an environment shaped by the mother and father. That's something that seems really obvious, but how can we be more intentional about our inner environment and also our physical environment as well? So yeah, everything the baby is what the mother and father take in through their senses, what they see, what they hear, what they taste and touch and feel. So all of the senses is what the baby is experiencing as well. So the mother she's a vessel sustaining life. She imprints upon the child's soul, the child's sense of self, and she influences the child's nervous system. So her nervous system is also the child's nervous system. So her state of being is also the child's state of being in pregnancy. But of course, the father influences as well during the conception time. So both parents hold a sacred responsibility of building their child's foundation in love. And it's a responsibility that doesn't just begin at conception, I think it begins long before. So conscious conception, so much of the work of inviting a child into this world consciously is about becoming conscious ourselves. So it's not just about, preparing for the child entering your life. It's actually a lot of inner work, I would say. Yeah, so most of us can't really remember our baby and infant years at all. But those years actually shape every aspect of our being, shape who we are right now as well. That's why it's so important for parents to be informed about their responsibility. I think someone wants to join. Wait 1 second. Virgie, how do I access if someone wants to join?
There would be an option coming on top of the screen, admit.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Admit all. Perfect.
Yeah.
There's a few people. All right, amazing. Thank you. Okay, I think I've admitted everyone. Yep. All right, we just had a few more people join, which is amazing. So we just started anyway. And we're really looking at conscious conception and how, why it's important, especially in Ayurveda as well, looking at conscious conception through an Ayurvedic lens. So we don't really remember our infant years, but we do know that it shapes who we become now. So it's really important for parents to be informed about their responsibility and how they will influence their child's life. And I think it's not just preparing physically, it is an inner journey itself. So exploring how our own childhood experiences and upbringing have shaped us. And in Ayurveda, pregnancy is a time when the baby is imprinted by the emotional, spiritual, and physical environment of the parents. But before conception, I think we must cultivate an inner environment of love and balance. So that can be by addressing past experiences that are stored within our nervous system. So just remembering that our nervous system isn't just our mind and the thoughts that we have, it's also our body as well. So we can address like physical ailments in our body, and yeah, just being conscious about how our body is displaying different symptoms based off things that we've stored or emotions that we've stored. Even though like our mind can't really remember everything, our body does remember everything. And part of the work that I do with women, I do massages. I offer massages for women, especially around their womb area. And a lot of women hold a lot of emotions in their pelvic space. So Ayurvedic massage can be really supportive in that. And I'm sure for men doing like different exercises like yoga as well as Abhyanga massage can really help transmute some of the emotions that are stored within the body as well. So some questions we can think about is how can we heal our body so that we can provide the little soul a healthy and strong vehicle to live in? And how can we ensure the patterns of love and affection are the foundations rather than the inherited patterns of dysfunction that we may carry? So really becoming more conscious about how, the patterns of our family shape who we are and addressing those patterns. And the physical strength and mental state of the parents 3 to 4 months prior to conception will be your baby's overall health. And 3 to 4 months is the minimum. I would say if you can address your physical and mental state 3 years before, that's even better. But of course, sometimes we don't have that much time. So 3 to 4 months is the minimum. All right, so this is a beautiful analogy in Ayurveda where we see our body as a garden, and basically the plant is the baby that we want to bring into the world. And in Ayurveda, we can, so let me just say it again. Basically, our body is the garden or the field in Ayurveda. And for a woman, it can be her womb space as well. And for a man, just his overall body. So just like any farmer prepares the soil before planting, the body needs to be really a receptive space for conception. So a good gardener will always take out the rocks and the weeds first. And in Ayurveda, we can do that by going through a process of detoxification and then nourishing our body with nutrients that are lacking or minerals that are lacking, and looking at our emotional well-being. And then the seed is a quality of the egg and sperm. And any good gardener always looks at a good quality seed. So they would have a seed, they would use a seed from like a plant that it has thrived really well as well. So some of the factors which Manpreet Riji is going to touch on that influence the quality of your egg and sperm include your vitality and ojas, which is your sense of your energy level. And of course, we need to think about our lifestyle and mindset as well when thinking about the quality of our egg and sperm. Like, what do we do in our life that helps that, and how can we balance our doshas as well? I think most of us would generally know what doshas are, but if not, Manpreet Riji can touch on that. And Then the next aspect we need to think about is the season. So making sure that when we are wanting to conceive, the timing is right, and your cycle for women, your cycle is in alignment with a nature cycle or your body's natural rhythm. So really getting familiar with your menstrual cycle and connecting with the moon as well. That can be really helpful. And of course, like we can look at seasonal considerations. So looking at whether you want to conceive in winter or spring, or yeah, it depends on your constitution. And yeah, so the next one is water. I think water is really, really vital to nourish your garden and the plant within it, or the seed. And that really represents nourishment and hydration and proper flow of fluids. Yeah, so just a general analogy that really helps us see ourselves as a garden and how we can help the plant grow really beautifully, the plant being your child. Okay, Madhuri, do you want to take over?
Yep. All right. Thank you, Simran, for explaining that analogy. That's very helpful for me to start off with this slide.
Yeah.
Now, talking of fluids, so the man has a fluid and the woman has a fluid as well. The fluid which flows continuously during the monthly periods is called as the menstrual blood. And the fluid which man makes in his body is called as semen. Both these fluids are responsible for bringing up a healthy baby. But instead of just talking about health, let's first talk about imbalances, because we can actually look at the imbalance and then improve on those imbalances and then divert it into health. So some of the imbalances which we see in the menstrual blood is irregular flow and cycles, thus causing PCOD and other period-related issues. Second is clotting and mucus presence in the menstrual blood, dark or brown, darkish brown blood, abnormal color, painful menstruation. That's because of more of wind energy in the body. That's called Vat in Ayurveda. Just speaking in Ayurvedic terms, there are three main doshas. So one is Kapha, second is Vat, and third is Pitta. As you all might already have this knowledge that the body is made of 5 elements, and just expanding on those, Vata is a combination of space and wind. Pitta is combination of fire and water, and Kapha is a combination of earth element and water. If there is an imbalance between all these three or any one, that puts this body in the spin. So that brings all the difference, and it manifests in your vitals. And you can say the juice of the body. So that's the menstrual blood in women, and the juice of the body of a male is semen. So coming down to the crux of it, if your vitals, the body fluid is in perfect balance, that shows from tip to toe, your body is healthy. If there's any imbalance in these fluids, it's time to reconsider and work towards a better health. So in men, the sperm is found to be imbalanced if it has foul smell, discoloration of white or very thick semen, excess or reduced ejaculation power, sticky, thick or mucus-like texture of the semen, and low sperm count or thin semen. So now we can have a look at how we can improve these body fluids. Right. Balance menstrual blood and semen, because the menstrual blood will give rise to ovum, a healthy egg. And semen will be helpful in a better and healthy conception. There are many ways to improve upon these two fluids, but just to look at an eagle eye on it. The first one would be follow a healthy lifestyle. Second would be to balance the sexual lifestyle. Healthy lifestyle would include sleeping at regular intervals, so maintaining a sleep window of about 8 hours, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., regardless of your Pitta, Vata, or Kapha dosh, the Ayurvedic doshas. 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. normally would suit for all the doshas. And then including gentle exercise like yoga, walking, Surya Namaskar, that improves your blood circulation. So if your blood circulation is good, all your extremities of the body would receive the nutrients needed for its growth, and thus contributing to healthy fluids in your body. Avoid overexertion and stress, which depletes reproductive health. We should know this, and this should be a common knowledge, that there's only one energy in the body. It's up to us how we use this, how we make use of this energy. There are two ways of use. One is misuse and other is good use. So the misuse would be not having a regular sleep pattern, not exercising, not eating healthy, and engaging in activities which deplete us of our vital energy. So that's misuse. So how do you put it to good use is to have a routine around it. But I know it's hard to have a routine if you don't have one already. But it's always better to take baby steps and then increase upon it. So maybe just first of all, you would like to now stick to or develop a regular sleeping routine. If you're sleeping at, let's say, 10 or 11 p.m., reduce it by half an hour, sleep half an hour early. Take baby steps and improve each of these categories of your life. If you don't have exercise routine, probably just start working out for about 15 minutes a day and then increase it 5 minutes every week until you feel that you're healthy enough now. And then you maintain that health over a period of your life. All these routines should not be a one-off. It should be a part of your life. So if you have adapted a good and stable routine, you should be able to take it to the end of your life. It's not like we should be just starting off with a rigorous exercise regime, and then once we have achieved a goal, then we stop exercising. That's what happened to most of us. So we should have a routine which we can carry on till the rest of our life. Moderation in sexual energies. So moderation is key. Avoid excessive sexual activities so that you prevent the discharge of your vital energy, the vital fluid. And observe Ritucharya. That is, follow the natural menstrual cycle for optimum reproductive health. So after the woman has gone through her periods, after that 15 days is a very fertile time to conceive for a woman. And in that time, if there is a conception, then it leads to a healthy embryo. Yeah. Over to you.
Yeah, so I think it's really important to look at your relationship dynamic with your partner as well. That's another way that you can prepare for conception. It might seem really obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people are not on the same boat with how they want to bring a child into the world or how they want to take care of their child. So these are some really good questions you can speak to your partner about, or you can spend some time together discussing these questions. This is something that me and Amrit did as well before we decided we wanted to bring a child into the world. And one of the big questions for us was like, what would our day-to-day life look like? And yeah, we decided that, I wanted to stay home with my children, and in their, especially like their earlier years from 1 to 3. And Amrit was happy to, he wanted to work to support. And for you, it might look different where, the mother might want to start working maybe 6 months after the baby is born. So it's really important to think about how your relationship dynamics going to change and how you want to raise your family. And these are some really good questions. So you can take a photo if you like, or screenshot, and then you can discuss that with your partner. We'll move on. And just to summarize sort of things that we've already discussed, these are some other ways you can prepare for conception. So looking at how you can prepare your body. So following an Ayurvedic protocol, that's something that you can talk to Mantri Viji about, have a consultation. He can look at your constitution and give you an outline of how you can implement some practices to help prepare your body. And we can also look at timing conception as well. So for women, really getting to know her monthly cycle in depth is really important. That's something I can support you with as well. So personally for me, I use the fertility awareness method to track my cycle and get to know my fluids and when I ovulate. And for every woman, that's different. Usually ovulation does happen around the 15th day, but some women might experience shorter cycles and some might experience longer cycles. So it really depends on you. And yeah, fertility awareness method is really, really great. And that's something I can share resources with you. Yeah, I can share those things with you about. And also in Ayurveda, following a daily routine is probably the most powerful tools that you can implement. And a daily routine would look like you waking up before the sun or just as the sun is coming up, so around 6 a.m., like Mantri Viji said, when you wake up, doing an Abhyanga massage, tongue scraping, and then after you do the Abhyanga, doing your yoga stretches, your Surya Namaskar, and keeping the oil on your body before you do after the Abhyanga for a good period of time to help the oil alchemize in your body. And then, yeah, spending your day like in meditation, or if you go to work, just being present. So your daily routine is so, so important when you want to prepare for conception. And I think going back to preparing your body for women, this recipe that I've put up is really beautiful. This is something that I've done for myself, having an ashoka bath. So you can take a photo as well if you like. But ashoka is a beautiful herb in Ayurveda, and it really addresses your womb space. It also promotes like a healthy ovarian and endometrial tissues, and heals physical and psychological pain associated with your reproductive organs. So if you've experienced like emotional or physical trauma, it can be really helpful as well. And of course, when on the day of conception, you want to incorporate some beautiful rituals like spending time together in meditation, prayer, and lots of love. Okay, I think we're moving on to pregnancy now. So pregnancy, usually there's two perspectives on pregnancy. This is something that I've noticed when I talk to women, one or couples or men as well. So usually one perspective is that pregnancy is a miraculous unfolding of life, whereas the other perspective is that it's a time of discomfort and disease. So think about which perspective you would choose, not just to like surface level believe, but to actually really embody and experience within yourself. And this goes for men as well. How would you treat your partner when she's pregnant? Do you want her to feel like, a goddess, or, you want to treat her like she's really fragile? And yeah, it's really up to you what you decide. So like usually the Western approach to pregnancy is focusing on diet and pathologizing, so finding a problem and then fixing it. But in Ayurveda, pregnancy is really like a holistic approach. So looking at your lifestyle and looking at what nourishes your senses. So looking at the three gunas, which is like sattva, rajas, tamas, they're the different energy types and they can show up in your pregnancy. But during pregnancy, we really want to lean into a more sattvic state and lifestyle. So the way we can do that is first by associating with sacred spaces. That includes being in nature. Usually when we think of sacred spaces, we think of temples and going to Gurdwara Sahib and, different spaces where people pray. But I think nature is a beautiful sacred space as well. And it's very underrated, but for pregnancy, especially like being surrounded by nature, you're kind of embodying, the growth and fertility, and you're connecting to your baby growing as well, just like a plant is growing. And for me, I've been spending a lot of time in my backyard and just going barefoot on the grass and sometimes lying down on the grass without a picnic rug, just feeling the grass feels really good and hearing the birds chirping, feeling the sun on my body is just beautiful. And the other thing we can do to create a sattvic environment is to associate with spiritual people. So people that have lots of wisdom and family and friends who uplift you and don't project their fears onto you. And if they do, there are ways to be able to set up emotional boundaries. But when you're pregnant, you are very receptive to outside influences. So you do want to protect your energy. So you want to be around people who validate how you feel, who celebrate the growing belly and the baby, rather than sharing like scary birth stories to you. And if they do, like, it's an opportunity for you to find ways to communicate your boundaries. And last is you want to experience spiritual sound vibration. So that could look like listening to kirtan, different mantras, singing your favorite songs, listening to your favorite songs, and talking to your baby. Yeah. I'll just go back, I think. Yep, Fiji.
Right. So as I think most of you already know this theory that the baby is not a new soul. It's one soul which has been existing throughout multiple life forms, but is now given an opportunity to come into life again, to take a form, all right, take a new form this time. So there are three things which develops the baby's mind and thus its body. First, it's his own destiny, the karmas, which that soul has incurred in these previous lifetimes. Second would be the traits, the karmas of the parents. Third would be the nurturing and the care it receives during pregnancy and after its birth. So these are the three main factors which lead to the development of an embryo. Yeah. Next slide. And then talking about how sound helps during pregnancy. Not just during pregnancy, sound is a constant friend of human. And this has been elaborated in Gurbani so many times. So that Gurbani is written in ragas and it is sung in melodious tunes. So that it helps to capture the mind and then bring it in tune with Gurbani. Likewise, the sound energy, while the baby is in the tummy, a baby's mind is not blank because it has the previous karmas written on it. So those karmas will manifest as the baby becomes aged. Second would be the deep parental connection. When the baby or the father, when the mother or the father is talking to the baby in the belly, those also leave an imprint on the baby's mind. Also, when the mother is not talking or there is no, the father is not talking to the baby as well, still the baby is active in the womb and is receptive 24/7. So all of those sounds around you, around the mother, the baby's environment, they affect the baby's mind and growth. Fourth would be the impact of maternal attention. Even if the mother is just sending good vibes, not humming, not making any sound from her mouth, even those vibrations, internal vibrations of the mother affect the baby. So that's why it's necessary to be in Chardi Kala, positiveness, and then culturing the mind. The quality of sounds, the words, the mantras, the prayers, the ardas we do, they do form and leave a very big impact on the mind of the baby. This is what Ayurvedic or the Ayurvedic system includes because it's a very holistic practice. So during these phases of development for the embryo, if you want the baby to have a very good and pure character, it's important to manifest a sattvic lifestyle for both the husband and the wife, both the male and the female. The environment, the thinking, the lifestyle has to be sattvic. If not, then you will always lead know the repercussions of it. Right. As we had already talked about the imbalances of the vital fluids in the male and the female, but what actually helps transform what we eat into fluid? And that is fire, because fire is the one which has the transformation energy. This fire is called as Vaishvarana Agni, and this is the digestive fire, also known as Jathar Agni. Jathar means the one which is situated in the abdomen area, which converts what we eat into nutrients and then into blood and then into the final stage called as Shukra or the body fluid. So what we eat first transforms into plasma called Rasa, Rakta, blood. Then it reaches the muscle and forms the muscle. Fourth stage is Meda or fat. Then it's converted into Asti, bone. Sixth is the bone marrow. And from the bone marrow, the body fluid is produced. So it takes 7 stages to form the body fluid. And in Ayurvedic wisdom, it is said that it takes 40 kgs of food to produce 1 drop of semen. That's how vital the body fluid is. So we should be very careful how we make use of this energy. Yeah. And then how do we balance this Jata Agni? If the Agni is low, it won't burn the food as needed. And if it is too hot, then it burns the food more than required. Then it won't lead to a proper production of the body fluids. So some of the ways which we can balance this Agni is to avoid heavy processed or cold foods. Anything heavy or hard to digest, it weakens the immunity. It weakens the Agni Shakti in the body. Second would be to eat warm and nourishing food, to have a balanced diet. Include good fat like ghee. Avoid processed food. Avoid vegetable oil. Replace it with ghee. Ghee is one of the best oils you can find. Just talking about that, so one is ghee, second would be coconut oil, third would be saroo or mustard oil. These are the three oils which are very good for the body. It also depends on your dosha constitution, which oil you should favor. Third would be to have a proper meal timing. And you might be having a balanced diet, but if you eat it at wrong times, it won't be absorbed efficiently into the body. Other ways to increase your digestion system, the power of the digestion system, is to drink warm herbal teas, which help in digestion, which regulates the heat inside. Engage in gentle movements or exercise so that you have a good blood circulation. The last but not the least would be practice calm and positive thinking. So that would be to engage in spiritual retreats or spiritual sadhana. Yeah, I think that would be all for this slide. And yeah, some of the tips for a healthy pregnancy or a healthy diet leading to a healthy pregnancy. There are a lot of dietary requirements, but that would be very specific to the doshas. Not talking about the specifics, I would just mention two of these nutrients which we require would be the calcium for the growth of the baby skeleton. Second would be good oxygen-rich blood. Calcium helps in strengthening the mother's body as well as in the development of healthy bone system of the baby. So some of the protein or calcium giving diet would be sesame seeds, ragi, that is millets, lotus seeds, fresh cow milk, cottage cheese, buttermilk. Ashwagandha is one of the very good herbs which helps in body, the bone and muscle strength. And then second would be iron-rich foods, beetroot, pomegranate, dates, raisins, jaggery, and leafy vegetables, but the only criteria is it should be cooked properly. If you're eating leafy vegetables without cooking them, that might lead to bloating and gas. So that's one of the things which you have to take care of. But foods to avoid during this phase of life would be excess amount of spice, heavy pulses, raw leafy vegetables, and too much caffeine. Yeah, because it could break havoc in the system if you're having too much caffeine. I think that's all for the slide. Yeah.
Yep. So I would definitely recommend having an Ayurvedic consultation when you're pregnant, because it can really help in understanding the pregnancy month by month. And if you do experience any like ailments in your pregnancy, like I experience a lot of morning sickness, Ayurveda can really support. So having a consultation can really help address like your agni or like your digestion or other things, like if you experience miscarriage or edema, which is like swelling in your legs and your body. And it can really help in establishing like an important and specific self-care practice that you would need, rather than like using a practice that's general. The consultation can really help in something that's customized to you, and it can help in making lifestyle adaptations as well, like sleep positions and exercise as well. Yeah. Someone wants to join, but here we go. So I just wanted to briefly touch on the postpartum period, even though that wasn't like the main topic of discussion. I think I believe it's still important to know about. And in Ayurveda, the English translation of postpartum is a sacred window. So like the first 42 days or the first 6 weeks after baby's born. And this is a beautiful quote that's really imprinted on me and like shapes the way that I support women. So after birth, there is a sacred window of time, a time of complete rejuvenation of a woman's physical and mental and spiritual health, a time of deep extended bonding with her newborn. The first 42 days after birth set the stage for the next 42 years of her life. Yeah, so basically, once baby's born, the first few weeks, not even the first few weeks, maybe the first 9 months after the baby's born, the baby doesn't see themselves as separate. They're still very, very attached to their mother because their mother is their first home. So they see themselves as one with their mum. They feel everything that's around them, and their sense of self is like built on their surroundings. And we need to remember the mother is also a newborn. Before her baby was born, she had a different identity, and now she's got a different identity once her baby's born. So we need to remember that she is just like her newborn, processing her experience and everything. And Ayurvedic practices can really help bring more ease and comfort to your baby, and also can help avoid postpartum depression, depletion, overwhelm, and low milk supply. So you can get a postpartum doula to support you with that. That's something I do. Or you can find out beforehand, like what are some herbs that I can introduce into my diet once baby is born that can help with lactation and can help rebuild my tissues and heal my body. So yeah, that's something I do. I support couples to set up like a perfect postpartum where they don't have to worry so much about figuring things out on their own. Yeah. Okay, so just to end, we need to really start looking at how Ayurveda can support us now. So I definitely believe that the way that we eat and live impacts our fertility, and our fertility is the barometer for our overall health and the health of our children. So whether you're wanting to conceive soon or later, it's always important to address our fertility because, yeah, that's our fertility is who we are, our energy level, how we express ourselves. Yeah. Okay, so just to end, this is some of the offerings that I offer to women and couples. I provide pregnancy and birth support outside of the system. So if you're curious to know how you can birth outside of the system, or even like how you can support a physiological birth in the hospital, I provide education around that, and I also attend births. I also provide Ayurvedic postpartum support, so I drop off meals and offer massages to the women and belly binding, which can be really healing and supportive once baby's born. And I also offer massages. At the moment, I'm not because I'm going to have a baby soon, so I just need to conserve my energy. But in the near future, I will probably start offering those again. And womb massages are so beautiful to connect with your womb and to really prepare that space for conception and address like fertility or menstrual issues you may be having. Yeah, beauty.
Right. So as I already mentioned that there's no one system fit all, because Ayurvedic herbs and lifestyle has to be suited according to your body doshas. So that's where I come in. I try to use the Ayurvedic wisdom which I have got over the years. So what I do is I personalize Ayurvedic health assessments which is unique to each individual and the lifestyle. Second is stress management and mental well-being. If you are going through a tough life or situation which you think is a hurdle in and is also bringing up stress in your daily life, we can look at ways and techniques how to manage it. Holistic diet and nutrition guidance. It's not just having a good lifestyle, but if you don't have a balanced life, balanced diet, you won't have a balanced life. So looking at how you can balance your diet, include and remove some of the food articles, and detoxification. So you can have a good lifestyle, you can have a good meal, but if you're not detoxifying your system, you're not making room for improvement. So we can have a look at how you can include some detox herb and daily self-care routines to vitalize your body. So these are the things which I can help with. Thank you. All right, thank you all. If you have any questions, we're open for questions now.
You can take a photo if you need to contact us, and I'll post the PowerPoint. And yeah, open for any questions you may have.
Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. I have a question. When does the soul enter the Atma, like enter the womb or body?
Simran, you want to answer?
No, you go ahead.
The soul is ever present. So it's like saying that when does a bubble form in water? Or when does the water take a shape of a bubble inside the water? The soul is always present. What is different, or what we call as the Jivatma, is the mind. So the mind can be active depending on the previous karmas of that particular Jivatma. Sometimes the mind might be active after the 9 months or during the time, during the labor phase. That's very rare case. It happens in the, what I would say is, if a saint is born, that is the time when the mind is present inside the body of the baby at the time of labor. But if it's just a normal human being, it might be from the day one of the embryo formation. So it changes. It's not same for everybody. The soul is ever present. Yeah, because without the soul, there can't be any development.
Can I just add to that as well? I know a few women that have connected to their spirit baby so well before they even conceive, they can connect to the spirit of their child. So like Vijay said, the soul is ever present. Sometimes the children that want to come into your life, you can connect with them beforehand, which is a beautiful practice. There's meditations you can do. I guess if you connect with good Bani and do lots of meditation, you can connect with the soul of your baby through dreams as well. Yeah, just wanted to add that.
Yeah.
Japan.
Hanji, follow-up question about what Virji was talking about. Does it mean that in the body there are the five elements again, like producing, which we call the baby, because jidda with the gyan ki atma is ever present. So is it a good understanding ki in the body the ਪੰਜ ਤੱਤ ਫੇਰ ਬਣ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਇਦਾਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ?
Hanji, so it's like the baby formation is a vehicle. So inside that new vehicle, the soul will be seated. So you're giving baby formation. Look at this. Look at it this way, that the baby formation is a way for the Nirgun
Hmm.
the soul to play its game,
Hmm.
right? So now it is taking over a new form, but that
Ji.
soul is ever present, right? The water is still there.
Yeah. Hmm.
Water is there, but a bubble is coming up.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But the same water is in the water state
Hmm.
as the sea. The same water is in the bubble as well.
हाँ जी
But now the bubble is taking shape.
ठीक है जी
That's the embryo development.
ठीक है
I think that's all, I guess. That's a very good question. I haven't been asked this question as the Ayurvedic perspective. Yeah, that's a good question to ask. Right. I think that's all.
Yeah.
Want to close off, Simran?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you once again for joining, and I hope you got some wisdom out of today's session. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you all.
beautiful thank you जी
you.
Thank you. See you next
Take
time.
care.
Bye.
Bye.
Hmm.